Hello guys, it's me, Red the Dinosaur, and today with a new video discussing Forza Motorsport and basically the updates to up until to this date. Uh, Forza Motorsport had been quite in a roller coaster after its really rocky release, after many things that had been criticized after that really failed attempt to convince everyone that they were doing things from the ground up, and that turned into a meme by itself. People just constantly mock Forza Motorsport when they release like a really bad car or a car that looks completely old, and they just said built to the ground up because it was just a lie, something that for turn 10 and Xbox sold to basically the clientele, saying that we are reworking this game and building it from basically the bare bones, and it was completely a lie. Most of the cars until to this day are from Forza Horizon or older Forza Motorsports, which is quite something ironic because a lot of people back then were clowning Gran Turismo for actually porting cars from Gran Turismo 4 and 5 into 6. And nowadays we are still seeing that on the new Forza Motorsport, which I think is still very it's just a very bad practice. But we are not here to discuss that. I have an entire podcast dedicated to Forza Motorsport and why I didn't like it in that time. But things have changed. I think they released an update when I released that episode of the podcast. When I released my podcast episode about Forza Motorsport, they released Jazz Marina with a few cars, and it wasn't like super well received. Yes, it's a new track, but I still think it's the worst track of the F1 calendar. Jazz Marina is just boring as hell. But again, that's my opinion, and many people kind of believed that it wasn't something to celebrate or something to see with a positive view. There were more things to come. They fixed a few issues, especially when it comes to the game itself. Usually game crashes, all that stuff, or the game not rendering properly, or just running like ass on PC. But the main problem of the basically modification of the car and basically upgrade system, as you want to call it, is still there, and it was a problem, and it still people thinks is a really bad feature that they released. That we're gonna talk about that soon. We're gonna put a pin on it. Later on, they decided for the January update to release Daytona, and I was surprised. I was like, well, okay, the game is actually going for an actual good track. Daytona is basically an icon from NASCAR to the 24 hours of Daytona, and one of the most iconic endurance races of the world. And I was actually looking forward for it, and the date was more than good to release it, because it was in January, basically the same month of the 24 hours of Daytona, and it was like this must be a huge hit, especially with the roster of cars that they have. Well, yeah, that was something that it was a bit of a shame, to be honest. The pit lane was actually modified by Turn 10 Studios, and now the pit exit basically makes you collide with some cars in Turn 1. I don't know why Turn 10 decided to make that change, even when the in real life track doesn't have this pit lane change, and they put like a tire barrier on the actual pit exit. It was something else, dude. Even in an event of the TCR America, one of the commentators that is basically a staple icon of endurance racing transmissions actually openly laugh at and mocked Forza for this change.
I think they'll get a drive-through for that. Gavin had to come through the grass. The Alpha found almost a bit of hard standing, but that's extraordinary. That's the
that's not paying attention, John.
Well, that's exactly right. That's the console game exit, because is it at Forza?
Oh, yeah,
Forza that still has the tyre barrier there?
It was a disaster. People just saw it on Twitter and it was just embarrassing. And it's still not fixed to this day. The pit exit of Daytona is still with the old, with basically the new pit exit that is just awful. And I don't think they're gonna fix it soon. I hope they fix it, because it was just an embarrassment. Completely ruined the momentum of Daytona on Forza Motorsport. And they keep and the Rooster cars wasn't that great. They have this car pass that costs like $30-40, and it just gets like some racing cars that people wasn't actually excited for, and all that stuff. But later we got to February, and they decided to release Nürburgring. People was basically very careful, not exciting too much. They knew that the disaster of Daytona was still fresh, and that was better to wait and see what is gonna be Nürburgring in Forza Motorsport. If they gonna actually release it good, or if there's gonna be a few flaws, or it's gonna be a complete unmitigated disaster. They also added, I think, the McLaren Senna GTR and the AMR Pro for the car pass, which are really cool cars that probably they're gonna be added to Forza Horizon 5 in the future. Who knows? But, well, that's another topic for another day. So, Nürburgring. And the track was released on, I think, this week, if I'm not wrong. And man, it was just a really good track. Wow, I really enjoy it. Like, I always praised Forza Motorsport for having these really cool physics of the cars that is a mix between actual simulators, but at the same time being kinda arcadish. That is this really good mix of inviting new people to actually play this game, but they are not as experienced as sim racers, so they can just do a lap and win a few races, but at the same time you can actually tweak the system a little bit, so you can make it as much simulator as you can. And I turned my settings to be, I only have like an assist on, that I also have it on Gran Turismo 7, but I turn everything off. Traction control and like auto brake, all that nonsense that I just decided to just turn off because it's just boring, makes the game boring, in my opinion, of course. But Jesus Christ, in Nürburgring coming back is just an absolute beast of a track. And especially in Forza Motorsport, it just shines. Basically, one track just jump-started my interest on this game, and is absolutely fantastic. Especially with this physics, it just shines and makes the Nürburgring really fun, even for a challenging track that is this thing, the biggest track and the most infamous of the planet. And it just makes it really fun. On Forza Motorsport, it's just really fun to just do a hot lap or even a race. It's just fantastic, and I enjoyed a lot. I think yesterday when I was actually testing and recording the bits of video for this for basically this, and it was the first time that I hooked up 3 hours, entire 3 hours into Forza Motorsport, because it just completely reignited my interest into the game. And things are actually looking brighter for the first time. Turn 10 Studios released a statement actually acknowledging the rocky start and acknowledging the criticism that the game had, especially with the car upgrade system that is pretty bad and is still not fixed to this day. But they promised to work on this and make it a priority. And is that so that they actually release basically a patch note announcing that they gonna basically get rid of it, that all the upgrade parts gonna be available for when you reach level 1, and that you were able to basically purchase the tokens that you need to upgrade your car with in-game cash. And I think it's a fantastic move. It's just a really, really good step forward that gets rid of a system that no one asked for. Some people in the comment section of those when this patch note got announced were like, oh, but I'm not gonna get recompensed of my effort of driving a car, which I think is just ridiculous. I don't why are you getting recompensed for driving a car? It's just really lame. I understand if you were actually getting rewarded, if you were actually, winning races or in the career mode, winning something and unlocking something. But for driving a car, come on, man. Like, it's just dumb. But it's just a really bad justification of an upgrade system that no one asked for. But they are actually getting rid of it, and which is really, really good news. There are some other stuff that they're gonna actually fix in the upcoming future. I think also they have to, acknowledge the fact that they lied, that they have to say, yes, guys, we actually failed on the ground up thing, on the build of the ground up. It wasn't something that we didn't mean totally to basically build the whole car, like cars and everything from the ground up. We're gonna port some stuff from older games, so basically the game is not that heavy, or it doesn't take too much development time. It will be better if they acknowledge that, and they still don't. But again, I don't want to focus on the negatives on this video. I think Forza Motorsport can actually be saved, and it can be. It's just a task of Turn 10 Studios and Xbox to just, fix this game and actually make it something iconic. I think it's something that I actually think is positive of live service games, that even when a game is really rough, if you actually commit to it and make it better, and you commit to the same, not to the extremes of Hello Games with No Man's Sky, but at least commit to it and try to listen to your community, and at the same time acknowledge the failures of the current build of your game and try to fix it as much as possible. It what makes a game really good. Just see Cyberpunk, for example. It was a really rough game, and nowadays it's one of the most fun action RPGs I ever played. And I still do, and I still recommend that game. But Forza Motorsport has a long way to fix this stuff. But again, it's just a task of Turn 10 to actually acknowledge it and fix those things. And at the same time, listen to the community and deliver really good content for the player base. But I'm really, really happy to see this game getting a jump start that was needed, and that maybe it will get a second chance to shine. And I hope it will be like that, because everyone, the players, the developers, really, really need to see a product that they bought and a product that the developers worked on shine and to be remembered, like the older Forza Motorsport games. So yeah, let me know your comments in the comment section right below. If you play Forza Motorsport, if you like it, if you not. What do you think about the basically all these upgrades that the game has been receiving, about the newsletter, acknowledging all the all the criticism that they got? Leave all there in the comment section right below. By the way, I'm gonna upload a comparison video of the Nürburgring on my channel soon. It's not gonna have commentary on it, so if you're not a fan of commentary, of non-commentary gameplay, it's fine, but I'm just gonna upload it anyway. It can be a bit of a bit polemic because I'm gonna kinda compare the two games, but at the same time I just want to do it because I always had that idea to just driving the Nürburgring on the same car in two different games, and leave to you guys to decide what is the best game, what is the best looking game, what game